So let's talk about acids today. What is something that you think about, or what are some things that you think about when you think about acids? Well, one of the things that comes to my mind is a story about a man named Harvey Dent. And Harvey Dent is actually a character from the Batman comics. If you've seen the Batman movies, or if you read the comics, or watched any of the cartoons, you'll be familiar with Harvey Dent. He was the district attorney of Gotham City, and he was a very, very dedicated man to justice. And he was out there trying people, trying criminals, trying to find justice. And in the process, one of the criminals poured acid on his face, and it only got half of his face, and that half of his face became burned and disfigured, and it changed him as a person. It changed him into a character known as Two-Face, who had one side was the regular Harvey Dent side of the face, and the other side was this acid-burned kind of monstrosity. And in the stories, he turns into kind of a criminal himself who had his own kind of vigilante type of justice. But I think this story definitely portrays a lot of our common ideas about acids. Acids are dangerous. Acids can burn your skin. Acids can eat away at all the things that they come in contact with. So our purpose today with this video is to talk about acids, talk about characteristics of acids, what they can do, and give you also some examples of acids. So our objectives today, our first objective is to list 5 characteristics of acids. Our second objective is to give 2 examples of acids. So the first characteristic is similar to what we were just talking about with Harvey Dent, is acids are corrosive. Just as in the example of Harvey Dent turning to Two-Face, acids can destroy organic material such as skin and clothing. And you can see in this picture here, this is the symbol for things that are corrosive. You can see the little drops coming out of the test tube and eating away at any kind of material they come in contact with. And that's true about acids, but it's only true about strong acids. There are weaker acids that don't have that type of corrosive property, but strong acids are highly, highly corrosive. A second characteristic about acids is that they can react with metals. I don't know why that arrow is there, but we'll just keep going. Acids react with some metals to form a hydrogen gas, and if you look here at this picture, you'll see that there are some bubbles forming in this test tube, and these bubbles represent that hydrogen gas that is being released as a process of this chemical reaction going on. See the bubbles. A third characteristic of acids is that they taste sour. Here we have a little boy who's just eaten a lemon, and if you've ever had a lemon, you will know what a sour taste tastes like. Just a disclaimer, it's never a good idea to taste a material if you don't know what it is. Taste is not the best way to figure out if something is an acid or even if it's a base. We'll talk about the best ways to figure out if something's an acid or a base. But if you did taste several acids that were weaker acids, you would notice that they have this distinctive sour taste. Okay, the fourth characteristic of acids is something that happens when you put acids in water. If you put an acid in water, such as hydrochloric acid, which is found in your stomach, the acid components start to break down and separate into something called ions. And what an ion is an ion is an atom that has either gained or lost an electron, so it has a charge. And in this case, the hydrogen ions become positively charged, and the chlorine ions are negatively charged. And when you put them in the water, they start to combine with the water itself. So you have water has a chemical formula of H2O. And so these hydrogen ions attach themselves onto these water molecules. And so you don't have hydrogen ions anymore. What you end up having is something called hydronium ions. And I'm going to see if I can draw that. Let me show you. Here's my water again. So I have my hydrogen ions, and they combine with the water molecule and they form hydronium ions, is what they're called. And hydronium ions have a positive charge because they get that positive charge from that extra hydrogen. And so the fourth characteristic of acids is that they form hydronium ions. Oops, let me get the M. They form hydronium ions in water. And this is something really important, and we're going to talk about this in a later video about how hydronium ions are important. Also, the fifth characteristic is that since this water is now full of ions, it's full of hydronium ions, the final characteristic is that they can now conduct electricity. Because the acids break apart in water, they form these ions, and because those ions have charges, in this case a positive charge, those acids can now conduct electricity. And that's what it makes an acid useful in something like a car battery, because the formation of these ions allows electricity to flow through really easily. So the fifth characteristic is they conduct electric current. Okay, so let me give you some examples. The first example, I've already given you actually an example of hydrochloric acid, which is found in your stomach. Another example is an acid called sulfuric acid. And sulfuric acid is found in car batteries. We also have acid found in citrus fruit called citric acid. That's why when you taste a lemon, it has that sour taste to it. If you get lemon juice on a cut, it hurts, it burns. And also in citrus fruit, we have something called ascorbic acid, which is the same as vitamin C. And another example is vinegar, also known as acetic acid. Vinegar is also an acid.